Christmas in the 1970s was a time of festive cheer, family gatherings, and, of course, indulgent meals that have become part of British culinary history. From the mouth-watering roasts to the sweet treats that graced every table, the food of the 70s set the tone for many families' holiday traditions. These meals, some still enjoyed today, bring a wave of nostalgia. But many of the classic dishes from this era seem to have disappeared over the years. Join us as we take a trip down memory lane and revisit 25 British Christmas meals from the 1970s that we'd love to see make a comeback. The centerpiece of any 1970s Christmas dinner was undoubtedly the traditional roast turkey. Cooked to golden perfection, it was often stuffed with a delicious mix of breadcrumbs, sausage meat, and herbs that filled the house with mouth-watering aromas. Served with crispy roast potatoes, gravy, and cranberry sauce, this meal was a true indulgence. The turkey was often accompanied by a variety of side dishes, from Brussels sprouts to roasted parsnips, each adding their own touch to the festive feast. Though the turkey may still dominate tables today, there was something special about the way it was prepared and served during the 70s, with families gathering around, sharing stories, and carving the bird with pride. A festive favorite in many households, beef Wellington made a grand appearance at Christmas dinners in the 1970s. This show-stopping dish consisted of a tender piece of beef fillet, often topped with pat, and a layer of finely chopped mushrooms, all encased in a golden, flaky puff pastry. The pastry was beautifully crisp on the outside, while the beef inside remained succulent and perfectly cooked. It was a dish reserved for special occasions, and Christmas was the perfect time to showcase its decadent nature. Often served with rich red wine gravy, it's a dish many would love to see return to the Christmas table in all its glorious, meaty and buttery richness. While turkey was the usual choice, stuffed chicken made an appearance on many 1970s Christmas tables as well. The chicken was typically stuffed with a savory mixture of breadcrumbs, herbs, and sometimes sausage meat, creating a comforting and aromatic dish. The addition of homemade cranberry sauce added a refreshing sweetness that balanced the richness of the stuffing. Paired with roast potatoes and seasonal vegetables, stuffed chicken offered a deliciously hearty alternative to turkey. It was a practical choice for smaller families or those looking to avoid the hassle of roasting a large bird. The combination of flavors was simple yet satisfying, bringing joy to many Christmas dinners in the 70s. No Christmas meal in the 1970s would have been complete without the iconic Christmas pudding. This rich, dense dessert was made from a blend of dried fruits, sweet, flour, and spices, often steamed for hours until it was tender and full of flavor. The tradition of stirring the pudding mix while making a wish was a favorite Christmas custom. Once cooked, the pudding was served with a generous helping of brandy butter or custard, and some families even went the extra mile by flambeing it at the table for dramatic effect. Despite its heavy, sticky nature, Christmas pudding was a beloved treat, and its deep, comforting flavors are still nostalgic for many today. Mincemeat pies were another quintessential Christmas treat in the 1970s. These small, pastry-filled wonders were filled with a rich combination of minced fruit, suet, spices, and brandy, though not actually made from meat, as the name might suggest. The sweetness of the filling and the buttery, flaky pastry were a perfect pairing, making them a popular choice throughout the holiday season. Mincemeat pies were often served with a dollop of whipped cream or a sprinkle of sugar, providing a festive and satisfying end to a meal. Many households would bake dozens of these mini pies, keeping them handy for guests or simply for a sweet treat with a cup of tea. In the 1970s, glazed spiced ham was a common feature on British Christmas tables. The ham was first slow roasted until it was tender and juicy, then glazed with a mixture of honey, mustard, and sometimes orange juice. This created a beautifully caramelized, slightly tangy outer layer that complemented the rich, salty flavor of the ham. Served alongside roasted vegetables and a traditional Christmas sauce, the spiced ham was often sliced into generous portions and enjoyed by guests throughout the day. The sweet and savory contrast was a real treat, and ham often made an appearance during Boxing Day as well, in sandwiches or added to salads. Brussels sprouts are a staple of any Christmas meal, but in the 1970s, they were often paired with chestnuts for an extra touch of festive flavor. The sprouts were lightly boiled and then sautéed with chopped chestnuts, which added a nutty sweetness to the dish. The crunchy texture of the chestnuts contrasted perfectly with the soft, slightly bitter sprouts. It was a classic example of how a simple vegetable could be transformed into something special with the addition of just a few ingredients. While Brussels sprouts have remained a Christmas favorite, the combination with chestnuts is one that many would love to see make a comeback at the holiday table. Though traditionally a part of Sunday roast dinners, Yorkshire pudding became a popular addition to Christmas meals in the 1970s. The batter-based dish, which puffs up to a golden, crispy perfection when baked, was often served alongside roast meats. The Yorkshire pudding's airy texture and slightly crispy edges were the perfect accompaniment to the rich gravies and sauces that accompanied the Christmas roast. Its versatility made it an ideal pairing with turkey, beef, or ham, and it added a comforting touch to the meal. Whether soaked in gravy or served on the side, Yorkshire pudding remains a nostalgic treat for many who grew up in the 70s. Pigs in blankets are a Christmas favorite that became especially popular in the 1970s. This dish featured small sausages wrapped in streaky bacon, creating a salty, savory treat that paired perfectly with the rest of the Christmas feast. The bacon would crisp up during roasting, creating a delicious contrast with the juicy sausages. Pigs in blankets were often served as a side dish, but they were also enjoyed as a snack throughout the day. Their irresistible combination of flavors and textures made them a must-have on the festive table, and they continue to be a Christmas staple for many families to this day. Salmon with mustard sauce was a lighter yet elegant option at Christmas dinners in the 1970s. The fish was typically served baked, accompanied by a creamy mustard sauce that added a tangy contrast to the delicate salmon. The dish was often paired with seasonal vegetables like asparagus or green beans, and was a popular choice for those looking for something a little different from the usual roast meats. With the rise of more varied and sophisticated cooking in the 70s, salmon became a more common feature at Christmas tables, particularly for families looking to enjoy something fresh and flavorful. Glazed carrots were a common vegetable side dish at 1970s Christmas meals, often served with a glaze of honey and ginger to add warmth and sweetness. The carrots were cooked until tender, then glazed with a mixture of honey, fresh ginger, and sometimes a splash of orange juice, which brought out their natural sweetness. The ginger added a subtle heat that balanced the honey's sweetness, creating a complex, flavorful side dish. This combination of sweet and savory was a Christmas favorite, and it's one that many still associate with those nostalgic holiday feasts. Roast parsnips were an essential part of the British Christmas meal in the 1970s. The root vegetable, which became golden and crispy when roasted, was often drizzled with oil or butter and seasoned simply with salt and pepper. Their slightly sweet, nutty flavor made them the perfect accompaniment to roast meats, adding variety and depth to the vegetable spread. The joy of biting into a perfectly roasted parsnip with its crisp exterior and tender inside made it a side dish loved by both kids and adults alike. Today, it remains a Christmas classic that many families still include on their festive tables. Christmas cake has been a British tradition for centuries, and in the 1970s, it was an essential dessert on the holiday table. This rich, spiced fruitcake, often decorated with marzipan and royal icing, was both beautiful and indulgent. The cake was filled with dried fruits, nuts, and a generous amount of brandy or rum, which gave it a deep, comforting flavor. In the 70s, it was often made well in advance and allowed to mature, deepening in flavor over time. Slicing into the dense, moist cake after a hearty Christmas dinner was a cherished tradition, and many still continue to make this fruit-laden dessert today. Sherry trifle was a quintessential British dessert at Christmas dinners in the 1970s. Layers of sponge cake soaked in sherry, custard, whipped cream, and fruit formed the classic trifle that everyone loved. The combination of textures and flavors, from the light sponge to the creamy custard and smooth cream, made it a festive treat. It was often served in a large glass bowl, showcasing its beautiful layers, and was a must-have dessert for many British families. Sherry trifle, with its indulgent, sweet taste and showy presentation, has remained a Christmas favorite in the UK for decades. While not a meal in itself, Christmas crackers were an integral part of the 1970s Christmas dining experience. These colorful paper tubes, filled with a small gift, a joke, and a paper crown, were pulled by two people at the table, creating a festive moment of joy. The tradition of cracking open a Christmas cracker and wearing the silly paper crown became a cherished part of Christmas dinner. Though the crackers themselves weren't edible, their role in making the meal feel festive and fun cannot be overstated. Pulling a cracker before digging into the meal was a joyous custom that added to the holiday spirit. Boiled ham with parsley sauce was another traditional meal that graced many British Christmas tables in the 1970s. The ham, simmered gently to preserve its tenderness and moisture, was served alongside a creamy, herbed parsley sauce that complemented the saltiness of the meat. The dish was often paired with roast potatoes and vegetables, making it a hearty and satisfying option for the festive season. The freshness of the parsley sauce, with its creamy texture, was the perfect balance to the rich ham, creating a classic and comforting dish that was enjoyed by families across the UK. Baked brie with cranberry sauce was a beloved starter or light dish for many British Christmas meals in the 1970s. A wheel of creamy brie cheese was gently baked until its inside became soft and gooey, creating an irresistible texture. The brie's rich creaminess was beautifully complemented by the tartness of the cranberry sauce, which added a touch of festive sweetness. This dish was often served with crackers or warm, crusty bread, perfect for spreading the melty cheese on each bite. The balance of creamy and tangy flavors made it a refined yet simple option compared to the heavier, more traditional starters. It became a go-to choice for holiday gatherings, as its easy preparation and elegant presentation made it ideal for both small family meals and larger dinner parties. Many people still fondly remember how this dish brightened up their festive table and made for a light yet indulgent way to start the meal. Roast lamb with mint sauce was an alternative favorite to the traditional turkey and beef on 1970s British Christmas tables. The lamb, carefully roasted to achieve a beautiful golden brown crust, was tender and juicy, with flavors that were rich yet delicate. A dollop of fresh mint sauce was generously spooned on top, providing a refreshing, tangy contrast to the richness of the meat. The sauce, often made with fresh mint leaves, vinegar, and sugar, had the perfect balance of sweet and sharp, enhancing the lamb's natural flavors. Paired with roasted vegetables, potatoes, and rich gravy, roast lamb with mint sauce was a memorable dish that many families enjoyed during the holiday season. Its elegance and distinctive taste made it a standout, particularly for those looking to switch things up from the usual Christmas fare. Even today, lamb with mint sauce is regarded as a festive classic. Salmon en papillote was a sophisticated and lighter option for Christmas meals in the 1970s. Inspired by French cuisine, this dish involved salmon fillets being wrapped in parchment paper with a mix of herbs, butter, and vegetables like julienned carrots or leeks. The packet was then sealed and baked, allowing the steam to cook the fish gently and lock in all the flavors. When the parchment was opened at the table, the aroma of the perfectly cooked salmon was aromatic and enticing. This elegant dish was not only tasty, but also visually appealing, as each individual serving was wrapped in its own parchment packet. It was a popular choice for health-conscious families or those seeking a lighter alternative to the traditional heavy meats of Christmas. Salmon en papillote also had the added benefit of being a relatively easy dish to prepare, making it a hit at Christmas dinner tables across the UK. Sweet potato mash with marshmallows was one of the more unconventional yet beloved side dishes on 1970s Christmas tables. The sweet potatoes were boiled, mashed, and mixed with butter, cinnamon, and brown sugar, resulting in a smooth, creamy mash with a rich, sweet flavor. What set this dish apart was the addition of mini marshmallows, which were scattered on top before the dish was baked. As the dish cooked, the marshmallows melted and toasted to a golden brown, creating a sweet, sticky crust that contrasted wonderfully with the smooth, mashed sweet potatoes. The combination of sweetness from the potatoes and marshmallows made this side dish both indulgent and comforting. Though unusual by today's standards, it was a Christmas favorite for many in the 70s, adding a fun and festive twist to the usual vegetable offerings. For many, this dish remains a nostalgic treat they wish they could enjoy again. Cabbage with bacon and onions was a humble yet delicious side dish that frequently appeared at Christmas dinners in the 1970s. The cabbage was boiled or sautéed until tender, while bacon lardons were fried to a crisp and combined with caramelized onions. The savory bacon and sweet onions added a depth of flavor to the cabbage, making this dish a comforting complement to the richer meats on the table. Its simple ingredients allowed the natural flavors to shine, while the crispy bacon offered a salty contrast to the cabbage's mildness. This side dish was often seen as the perfect balance to heavier offerings like roast turkey or beef, helping to cut through the richness with its lighter, more refreshing taste. Easy to prepare yet full of flavor, cabbage with bacon and onions provided a satisfying, hearty addition to the Christmas feast that was loved by many. Cauliflower cheese was a staple side dish at Christmas dinners in the 1970s, adored for its creamy, cheesy richness. The cauliflower was boiled or steamed until tender and then coated in a creamy bechamel sauce. This sauce, made with milk, butter, and flour, was enriched with cheese, often cheddar, resulting in a rich, smooth coating for the florets. The dish was then topped with more cheese and baked until golden and bubbling. The combination of tender cauliflower and the gooey, savory cheese sauce made it a comforting and indulgent accompaniment to any Christmas meal. This dish offered a deliciously cheesy contrast to the meat-heavy spread, and its warm, creamy texture was a comforting contrast to the often cold weather outside. Cauliflower cheese was a dish loved by both children and adults, making it a Christmas favorite that's still adored today. Christmas scones with clotted cream were a festive treat often enjoyed during afternoon tea or as a lighter meal on Christmas Day. These scones were rich and buttery, often infused with a slight sweetness and dotted with dried fruits like currants or sultanas, adding a seasonal touch. Once baked to golden perfection, the scones were served warm with thick, indulgent clotted cream and homemade jam. The rich, crumbly texture of the scone, combined with the velvety, smooth cream, made every bite a little piece of Christmas heaven. For many families, the tradition of enjoying scones together during the holidays became a cherished ritual, whether they were shared with family in front of the fire or served at a Christmas gathering. The simplicity of the scone, paired with luxurious toppings, captured the festive spirit perfectly, making it a treat that remains deeply nostalgic for many today. Christmas roast potatoes are an essential part of a traditional British Christmas meal, and in the 1970s, they were often the highlight of the festive spread. The potatoes were carefully prepared to achieve that perfect balance of crispy golden exterior and fluffy soft interior. The key to achieving this was roasting the potatoes in goose fat or butter, which helped them develop their signature crispness and rich flavor. The potatoes were seasoned with salt and herbs, adding an aromatic touch that enhanced their taste. The smell of roast potatoes filling the house was one of the unmistakable aromas of Christmas, setting the mood for the whole family. They were typically served piping hot, often drizzled with rich gravy, and paired with meats like turkey or roast beef. The combination of textures and flavors made them a cherished side dish that many Brits continue to look forward to each Christmas. Spiced fruit salad was a refreshing yet festive dish that graced many Christmas tables in the 1970s. This fruit salad usually combined fresh fruits like oranges, apples, grapes, and pineapple, with canned fruits like peaches or pears, creating a colorful and varied mix. The real magic came in the spiced syrup that was poured over the fruit, which was made by simmering cinnamon, cloves, and sometimes a splash of brandy. The spiced syrup infused the fruit with warmth and aromatic sweetness, giving it a lovely depth of flavor. Garnished with chopped nuts like almonds or walnuts, the salad offered a delightful contrast to the heavier, richer dishes on the table. It also served as a light, palate-cleansing dessert or side dish, adding a refreshing balance to the meal. Spiced fruit salad was a fun and festive twist on the classic fruit salad, bringing together the best of both the old and the new for a memorable Christmas experience. The 1970s Christmas meals were full of nostalgia, comfort, and a unique twist on traditional dishes that many of us remember fondly. From roast lamb to spiced fruit salad, these festive meals truly defined the holiday spirit for a generation. Which 70s Christmas dish would you love to see make a comeback? Drop your thoughts and favorite memories in the comments. We'd love to hear which ones still hold a special place on your table today.